Okay, all right, back on track the way it's supposed to be. We unfortunately dropped two big games last week, one resulting in us not making it to the in-season tournament, and the other one was a result of the in-season tournament going up against an old foe in the Boston Celtics, and we dropped that one. So now we have to right those wrongs and get back on the right side of things before we approach double-digit losses, and we do that against the Raptors. And we did it in great fashion. Julius Randle, Barrett, the two starters had a great game. Jalen Brunson threw in there with some help as well. The turnovers were a little bit rough. But to me, the big keys were Quentin Grimes and Josh Hart off the bench, especially in the absence of Emmanuel Quickley. Great stuff from the team. Great stuff from the team. It's unfortunate what we heard about Mitchell Robinson and then IQ missing. But the positive is we were able to win the game. Another Knicks win. Perfect. That's how these are supposed to start. Run the intro. What's going on, CK Crew? It's your boy CK2K, and welcome back to another video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Do not forget to like this video. People. It's the holiday season, and I got a gift for you guys. And it's from my family over at DIYOJ. You remember them? It's the good homies over at DIYOJ, where I got this beautifully custom CK2K jersey, and you can get one too. I know a lot of you guys are hoopers and you guys need jerseys for your teams. DIYOJ is the perfect place for you to get a customized jersey for you to play in, or to just have a customized jersey for whatever the occasion may be. It don't have to just be basketball. It could be football, baseball, whatever the case may be. DIYOJ can hook it up for you. And if you use promo code CK2K, you can get an extra 15% off. Do not sleep on the deals that they have in the holiday season, people. I need to get another one. I'm trying to get a white one that says CK2K. Be a part of the CK crew or get your own personalized jersey. DIYOJ is the place for you. Go check them out right now. And then when you get them, take a picture with it, tag me on IG. I want to see it, and I'll definitely share it out. I'm really excited to see what designs you guys get. Link is in the description. Promo code CK2K. You know the vibes. Let's get into the recap. The New York Knicks dropped two games last week, as I mentioned in the intro. Unfortunately, a big blowout loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, who eventually then lost to the Indiana Pacers. And then we lost pretty soundly against the Boston Celtics on Friday in Boston. A lot of questions, a lot of things going on, especially with a few things that came out of that Boston game where we saw Jalen Brunson tweak his ankle. Luckily, he was able to play, but Emmanuel Quickley and Mitchell Robinson both were not available in our game yesterday against Toronto. One a little bit more impactful than the other because Emmanuel Quickley right now is listed as day-to-day. No word yet on if he will play in Utah or if he will play in Phoenix on Friday, but we know his injury is more of a day-to-day thing as opposed to Mitchell Robinson, who is going to be reevaluated in 8 to 10 weeks. That means that we can almost be playing without Mitchell Robinson for another 3 months, because a reevaluation only means that they're going to check him out to see if he's even able to be basketball shaped to play at that point. So it's going to be a long road without Mitchell Robinson, and especially what he's done so well for us this year from an offensive rebounding standpoint, from an interior defender standpoint. And it felt like he was just starting to get his own being utilized around the rim, whether it's in the alley-oop or whether it's dump-off passes in Mitchell Robinson. So we're going to miss his presence. But I will be honest with you, what we got out of Jericho Sims and Isaiah Hartenstein in this game was definitely very reassuring, especially knowing that we're going to be without Mitchell Robinson. To have Jericho and Isaiah both have a combined 8 offensive rebounds, that's what you want to see. You want to see those continued opportunities to get second chance buckets by getting the offensive board, and Jericho and Isaiah both did a good job with that. I mean, for Tips to go right away and go with Jericho Sims over Isaiah Hartenstein, I was a fan of it. It was talked about that Jericho Sims had a tremendous training camp before the season even started, but Isaiah Hartenstein had the beginning part of the season that he had, and it was hard for you to bench him for Jericho Sims, and now he gets the opportunity to go out there and show that he deserves minutes, and he played pretty solid. I think what I'm looking at for Jericho Sims is his defensive abilities and how he's able to keep up. I know he's going to get those lob options. I know he's going to be able to help us out rebounding, but what's he going to look like for us defensively, especially when we play against other teams that have bigs, you know, the Joel Embiids, the Brook Lopez's, the Al Horfords, like those guys are in our conference that we're going to have to worry about long term. I want to see where Jericho Sims lines up with those guys. But in last night's game against the Raptors, him and Hartenstein did a good job, especially in the absence of Mitchell Robinson. Speaking of absences, we were without Emmanuel Quickley, so that means there were a lot of shots available for the second unit. And who took advantage of that? None other than my boy Quentin Grimes. Q went out there and let that thing fly, and at a high percentage. I know that JJ Redick is going to see this film and he's just going to be smiling ear to ear. The quickness, no pun intended, sorry Quickly, but the quickness in which that ball is out of his hand and in the hoop is ridiculous. And a lot of that is part of the working out that he did with JJ Redick on top of the ability he already had. Now we know that he's unfortunately had a slow start. We heard the last thing he said was that he was upset with the shots that he was getting, and that immediately resulted with him going to the bench. And though that might sound like a demotion, but it's almost as if Tibbs said, you want more shots, I'll send you to where you can get more shots. And that's with the second unit, and we saw him take advantage of that. I say it all the time, though I would still probably have gone with Quentin Grimes as the starter. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And in this role, Quentin Grimes seems to look a lot better. Now, remember, we have to take a lot of this with a grain of salt because of who it is we played against. Yes, this game stayed close throughout the entirety of the game, but it is against a lowly Raptors team that's still trying to figure out themselves as well. But Grimes did a great job, not only offensively, but continued effort defensively. So I'm hoping we see more of this. I just love how decisive he was with his shot selection. He wasn't thinking too much. He got the ball, let that thing fly. He was attacking the rim. He missed a layup in one possession, and in the following possession, takes the exact same layup and makes that one. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see out of Quentin Grimes from a consistent basis. And I think that's something that we should expect on a regular from him coming off the bench. And speaking of bench play, it wasn't just him. It was also Josh Hart. Josh Hart went out there and does what he does, being the Swiss Army knife that he is. And the other thing about Josh Hart, we're talking about being decisive. Josh Hart did a great job of that, because when the man decides to shoot the ball and allows himself to be an offensive threat, he has good nights. This is something that could be more regular for him. Maybe not constantly around the 16-point mark, but I do think Josh Hart can be a guy that can be effective with at least 10 to 13 points on a nightly basis. Josh Hart was 6 for 8, had 16 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds and 8 assists. Josh Hart was all over the floor today, and he was a big impact. And it's funny because those are the hard things and the hard decisions have to be made by Tom Thibodeau, because while Quentin Grimes and Josh Hart were both playing very solid off of the bench, you had RJ Barrett, who had a tremendous end of the third, beginning of fourth quarter that made it hard for Tibbs to keep him off the court in the closing minutes, because his impact was definitely shown in this game as well. RJ Barrett with 27 points, 52% from the field. I would have loved for him to make majority of his free throws, but he's shooting very well from the free throw line this season, so I'm not going to knock it that he was 2 for 4 from the free throw line. 3-point shot could have gone down better, but I'll still take a 38% percentile for a man from the 3-point line, 3 of 8 from the 3. I'm cool with that. But RJ Barrett looked solid in this game. He had some moments where he looked lowly. He even threw up an air ball, but for the most part, he had amnesia, which is what you need from a guy like RJ Barrett, where he's going to forget those moments and go out there and take advantage of the other moments. So RJ Barrett played really well, and I think Tom Thibodeau did a good job in letting Grimes and Hart run it out until the timeout was called and you bring RJ Barrett back out there. I personally would have liked to have seen them run a smaller lineup, maybe with Julius Randle at the 5. I know it's probably something they've never worked out, but I think in a game like this where their biggest guy was Precious, I think that we could have saw a lineup of Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle. I wanted to see if he would test something out like that, but I know I'm asking for a lot of creativity. That's not what Tibbs does. But I think that we could have got away with that, where you still could have had all the hot hands out at the same time and not really lose much defensively with those guys out there. And there probably would have been a lot of ball movement too. But Tom Thibodeau did what he had to do. He handled it right, and I think that we saw that. But yeah, those three guys were the big it factors. But this game would not have been even close if it wasn't for Julius Randle having another commanding game. 14 for 21 from the field, 67% from the field, 5 for 7 from the free throw. There's not much else you could ask for Julius Randle. Even the turnovers is always something I'm looking at with Julius Randle, because sometimes he overthinks and he makes a rough pass. 3 turnovers isn't great, but for the most part, for him to go out there and have 34 points, it was a great showing from him. Shout out to Jalen Brunson as well. The 7 turnovers off of 9 assists is kind of rough, but good nights for all of them. But this is a game that we need to win. And again, I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but it is something that you should expect from this team to do, barring injury. We need to go out there and win this game, especially in front of a home crowd. You want this win. But again, I'm not satisfied until we go out there and play the teams that we're going to be playing, like the Phoenix and the LA teams. I want to see how we measure against those guys, because so far this season, as I mentioned in my last video, we have not done very well against those plus 500 teams. I mean, we've done a good job at, managing the game and then going on a flurry at the end against these sub 500 teams. But I want to see what happens if we come into a similar situation against one of the good teams and actually surviving those battles. We've seen it so many times where we would be in the game and then there would just be one run and poof, we're out of the game, just like that against like the Milwaukee. We saw it in Minnesota. We saw it several times against Boston. That is what I'm looking forward to when it comes to this Western Conference road trip. How do we hold up against the Clippers? We beat the Clippers last time. I would love to see us sweep them now that they've gotten a little more acclimated with one another. The LA team is coming off of a high. I expect that the Lakers, are coming up off a high at being the first ever in-season tournament winners. I want to see us pick it up and turn around our play against the good teams in the league, because it's nice to beat these teams we're supposed to beat, but we need to compete against the good teams in the league. And this Western Conference swing is going to be a good opportunity for that. But what says you? Do you think I'm wrong for still holding it against the Knicks, for not beating these big teams, and I should just enjoy a win like the Raptors? Or do you agree with me? Do you still want to see how the Knicks come out against a good team like the Western Conference teams we're about to see? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. Real quick, let's get to a few comments of the video before we wrap this thing up. All right, so we still have some agitated fans with how the New York Knicks are looking right now, even after a win like we saw against Toronto. Like this one right here from A Game Family said, "It's not Tibbs, it's Leon Rose. We need a star player. We are just mid." Yes and no. I've been saying it. I feel like where we're at, I think it's beyond just needing star power. I think we just are not doing a good job at building a team that fits well together. I mean, yes, we're seeing moments where this team looks good together, but at the same time, the fit is just odd with having about 8 guards on this team and not having a real assortment of players at every position that are all really good at those positions. I think we're having a lot of projects and we're just scared to bite the bullet in making trades to upgrade at a lot of positions. And yeah, that does go back to Leon Rose. I think that we do have to make those kind of difficult decisions in upgrading in positions, and I don't think that always necessarily has to equal trading for superstars. Yes, you got to have stars on your team, but at the same time, as we've seen in previous years with teams like Golden State and Denver, depth is more important than having a bevy of stars. Ask Phoenix about that. That's my personal opinion. Hey, Hipster Denial, I appreciate you. Said that's some nice bouquet you got happening there, CK. Real nice background blur, giving you some extra pop. Congrats on the upgrade. And the New York guards are exactly what they are when up against a team like Milwaukee. Outsized, outmatched, expected the loss, just not like that disappointed. It's talking about the Milwaukee loss. Yeah, shout out, appreciate it. Yeah, we upgraded the camera. I appreciate you for noticing. I love how he just moved right into the Knicks take. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below about everything. What are your thoughts about, Quentin Grimes coming off the bench and what he's been doing, and how Donte DiVincenzo's role has seemed to minimize since he's been a starter? What's your thoughts about all of that? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you check out DIYOJ. Link is in the description below. I'm telling you, you're going to love what you get from there. Great quality stuff. Shout out to DIYOJ. Promo code CK2K. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Do not forget to comment below so your comment can be read in the next video. I'm out of here. See you guys next one. Let's get it. Peace, y'all. Back on the winning side. I like it.
Cold pizza Tuesday. I got food up in the fridge. looking for that new wave. I think I like it how it is.